Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sylvia and I make videos on planning with the occasional review. Today's video is going to be on what to do when your planner doesn't fit your needs. For 2022, I purchased a Boon Tacho Days in size A5 Slim. This is a new planner for me, and it's still a fairly new planner to the planner community in general. I believe it came out for the first time this year because we're still in 2021. And so I wanted to give this planner a go. It seemed like something that after many, many years I have built up to, because I certainly have never been a daily planner person in the past. So I talked myself through this purchase. So this wasn't completely a FOMO buy in the way of a FOMO, fear of missing out, but slightly it kind of was, because I did miss out on it last year. I passed on it to be a 3-time Hobonichi champion. That didn't work out really well for me. I did get my money's worth out of all 3 of those planners. However, I still stuck with a bullet journal for the most part. So I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about why I made this purchase and some of the struggles that happened after I made the purchase. And again, I did talk myself through this. So this is sort of for people who have a FOMO moment or want to try out a new planner and they're concerned about how to do that without any regret. So let's start with, why does this planner not really work for me? Well, in 2021, I did a lot of habit tracking and I did stick with a bullet journal for the most part. And it didn't matter whether that bullet journal was in a standard bound notebook or in a traveler's notebook, I was able to stick with bullet journaling. And what I learned from being able to be in one place for the most of the time is that I live or die by my weeklies. And this is the days, right? So for those of you who don't know anything about the Boon Tacho, in the front here you have a couple of pages meant for collections and habit tracking. Just a few though, so not enough for actual collections, well, the way I keep them anyway. And then you go into your monthlies, which also has a tracker at the bottom. So you get 2 of these planners. You get 6 months in one and 6 months in the other. And so this goes up to the 6 months in full calendars. And then it goes into half calendars so that you can forward plan, which is awesome. Then we just have dailies. Nothing but dailies. So my struggle really was, okay, well, where the week ends. So here's the first week of January, starts on a Saturday. So that ends, I'm a Monday start kind of girl. So right here, I would have to kind of like tip in some kind of weekly in order to keep tracking and working the system that I found works best for me. And since there are 2 books, I guess there would be, 52 weeks. So only half of that would be tipped into here. That might be doable, but it's still kind of weird. And how much would I tip in? Just like 1 page and do back to back? Because I really like my weekly chart that I do. And I want to continue that because it helps me stay motivated and functional. In the back of this notebook, we only have, I think it's something like 3 pages of square grid. Yeah. So there's not enough space in here to actually tape anything down to extra pages, which is a little bit of stress. So if you've never had a Boon Tacho, it comes in a folio style. If you've never had a folio, just think about a traveler's notebook without the strings. So you get a clear cover, well, this one has a clear cover anyway, that has the planner on the inside, and it's meant to be used as a system. So you can get these companion notebooks. This is the life notebook, and then the idea notebook, which is just, square grid. So we're going to pretend that this is an idea notebook and it's blank because I don't have another one. This is from my 2019 when I had last purchased a weekly Boon Tacho. So it goes in the front like this, and it can house a notebook. In the front, and then one in the back. Again, we're going to pretend this is a blank idea notebook. And then when you close it, it looks like this. and it fits nicey nice, and I like the way it looks, and that's all great. So I had talked myself through this purchase, and I said, okay, even though there's only dailies in here, you can use one of these idea notebooks. And here I already had an idea for a health journal, but I thought I could use one in the front for my collections and then one in the back for like whatever else, for my weeklies. That's what it was. So that I wouldn't be without, because I've been drawing out my weeklies and printing out weeklies for an entire year almost. We have about a month left in this year of 2021, in case you're watching this in the future. And so I felt like this would still work even though it was dailies. And that's my reason for purchasing this, because haha, it was a folio system. It's going to be fine. Well, I decided after a while that maybe I didn't want to do the less than 4mm grid. I think this is 3.7. I did a video on it and I'm already spacing, so I will flash it on the screen if it's not. I thought that this grid was a little bit too small for me, and I didn't know if I wanted to write on small grid again, being a 3-time Hobonichi champion and having small grid in there for another year. So I thought, well, if I decide not to buy any more idea notebooks or go with the idea notebooks, I need to find something else. So I looked for another companion notebook. So the first option was this Moleskine, which comes in packs of 3. I think there's like 40 sheets in here for 80 pages or something like that. And this has square grid. This is something I already owned, and I do love the Moleskine paper. And so this is a nice companion notebook because, so if you watched my other videos, you know that this is identical to the size of the Boon Tacho, which is nice. And I like when things are, you know, the same size, and I don't have to deal with, you know, A5 size and then B6 size and trying to fit that into a cover, and it's all wonky and weird. So I thought this would be nice to replace the idea notebooks with. However, the idea notebooks are made for this system. So they're made a little shorter and a little more narrow so that they fit and tuck in here very nicely. Whereas these Moleskines are not. And they're thicker. You can see that there on the side. They're definitely thicker. And of course, they are wider. So I'd have to cut these down if I wanted to fit them in here. And even if I did, there's too many pages in my opinion for them to look nicey nice in here. See how wonky and kind of weird that looks? It's not too bad, but it's not completely ideal. So I don't know if I want to cut them to fit them in here. And I thought these would be great because if I decided to move out of this cover, which by the way is a Boon Tacho cover they don't make anymore, unfortunately, these would fit nice in a traveler's notebook. And so Boon Tacho fits nicely in the Y traveler's notebook that I already own. So I thought, oh, well, this would be really great in there. I also thought, well, I don't know if I want to put my weeks in here. The good thing about having small little like inserts like this is that if you get bored, you'll fill them up quickly. Also, like if you do fill them up, you can always put volume 2 and slap another one in there and replace it as a refill. So the second option I have is a Moleskine notebook, which of course is the same size as these. These are called the large, by the way. So this is just a standard Moleskine, and it has square grid in it, just like the smaller or thinner notebooks. This allows me to have a lot of collections and my reference pages all in one place, and it can fit in here. And it also is the same size as this, so it fits really nicely in a Y Traveler's notebook with this. I shouldn't say nicely, it fits okay. You're getting a little chunky, so you definitely have to watch out on that. But of course, if you buy a wider traveler's notebook that fits 4-string, mine only fits 2, like a Chic Sparrow, it probably fits nicely in there with no worries. So this is how I've kind of found a way around the fact that I have no weeklies in here, but I wanted to try out a new planner and I wanted to try out something that looked really cool. I really have been getting used to dailies and I like the time tracking on here. So I'm excited that I have just decided to say yes to the dress, yes to the planner, even though I am a weekly kind of a girl. I know that if you've watched Writer Carol's videos, he lives and dies by his monthly and daily pages. He doesn't really do weeklies. I think in the bullet journal method, his book, he has like one page on a weekly spread, and that was like a vacay spread that he did so that he could track not only times he was going to be doing things on the vacation, but also like money he was going to be spending every day for that week, which made sense. But he really just goes by monthly and dailies, and I just haven't found a way to be that person. Not yet anyway. Who knows? Evolution is a thing. The other situation I had when I was looking for a companion notebook situation, complaint maybe, is that even though I love the Moleskine Notebook, I've been currently using it. I'm trying to finish up this one that I started in 2021, and I've just been keeping in here notes on my reading. And I am currently reading Dorothy Must Die for the second time with my niece because it's the first time she's ever read it. And I don't know if you can tell, I can zoom in a little bit. I just have crazy handwriting because mostly I'm in bed while I'm writing this stuff. So, okay, you can see that I am just using a standard, I don't have it near me, Papermate Inkjoy, and there's some bleed through here, which is kind of ridiculous. Moleskine, I don't even know what to say. And the ghosting is very severe. Now, I like the Papermate Inkjoy because it is a very opaque pen. You would have to use something like, I don't even know in here, possibly just like a ballpoint pen, a standard Bic pen, which is kind of boring, and I'm not really interested in that pen. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not the pen that I personally want to use. But that's probably what you'd have to use on a Moleskine paper that has 70 GSM. And for collections, I think I want to go with something a little more fancy. And I have all of these highlighters and stuff, so I don't know. I've kind of gotten a little spoiled with 120 GSM Leuchtturm notebook, so I wish that Moleskine would come out with like a thicker version as well. I haven't used that notebook yet, but just being able to stamp in there and use all of my standard pens in there and highlighters made me so happy that I think I want to go with a thicker paper. So I might end up using something like this just to have my reference notebook, maybe an idea notebook for my weeklies so that I can fit all of my planning stuff all in one place, because this does zip up. It doesn't look like it, but I swear it does. And then maybe have my collections, which mostly houses like my vocabulary spreads and my reading. Like I take notes in here, but when I sit down to make like my book spread for that book I read, it's a lot neater and more, you know, comprehensive, so that I can just sit down and be triggered by what I'm reading so that I remember the book itself. I don't need every single, you know, summary for every chapter like I do in here, but my niece is 11 and she has to test on this book, so it's just easier for us to do that. So Peekaboo, it says Kokio under there. I love that. I just think that maybe a collections notebook so that I can do vocab spreads and book spreads with some highlighters and other things, and not have to worry about the bleed through and the really intense ghosting, because, you know, you'd think after having Hobonichis I'd be used to it, but I'm kind of over it at this point. So I hope that this video has helped you. If you had a FOMO moment, see that you can make a planner work for you and not the other way around. And also, if you've been nervous about trying a planner because you're afraid of, I don't know, failure or not being able to use it because, you know, it's expensive sometimes, don't worry so much about that. Worry more about how you make things work best for you, and that you can use companion notebooks, or sometimes the difference is the cover that you're using in order to make your system work for you. So let me know down below if you've had a FOMO moment already, even though the year hasn't started, or you're afraid to have a FOMO moment, and what are some of the things that you're doing to help with that. All right, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope that this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.